What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and some scary updates, I guess, to the case that of Andrew Tate. Now, had a what looks like a scary reaction to something this morning. Now, he's claimed that he's been poisoned or is having a quote severe reaction to something in his coffee. Would I put it past? Some people say, "Oh, it's an obvious publicity stunt." Maybe. Some people say, oh, it's definitely could be somebody's trying to take him out. Also, maybe. I don't know. I also know a lot of people have their opinions on Andrew Tate, and I do too. But, I think that my position has been and always will be that he deserves his day in court, and that's really what matters. You see this, Andrew Tate is claiming he's been poisoned or is having a severe reaction. Let's take a look quick at the actual tweets because, hey, I wouldn't put it past somebody, right? The guy's got a lot of wealth, first of all, and it's weird. Oh, did he delete it? Did he delete it? That's odd. He didn't look good in the video. Like, He looked very sick. He looked, his face was all swollen. But it looks like he has now deleted the tweet. Interesting. Well, doesn't change what he said. You have this. Andrew Tate says that he's been poisoned after drinking coffee and water. Back in December 2022, controversial influencer Andrew Tate's house in Romania was raided by authorities, which led him and several others to be detained until April 2023. He shared aspects of his life and the detainment on social media, including fears that he wouldn't survive it while dealing also with horrific conditions in prison. In a series of tweets from today, Andrew Tate revealed that he was suffering from a series of symptoms that he claims are some sort of allergies or poison. In the tweets, Andrew Tate showed his swollen face, red skin, and a video that lets you hear that he's having trouble breathing. Quote, face swollen, blood pressure is through the roof, skin's on fire, hard to breathe, some sort of severe reaction or poison, only had coffee and water so far today, all appeared in the last 5 minutes. And you can see some pictures. He's got like red blotches all over his skin. And, the video is actually pretty disturbing. In a third reply, Andrew's manager or another employee issued an update claiming that the influencer is not allergic to anything. Quote, Andrew is not allergic to anything. This has never happened before. Has only had water and coffee today, either an insect bite or some matrix attack insanity in his bottled water. He's refusing doctors and focusing on tea and breathing. We'll keep you updated, they said. And the article finishes, we'll have to wait for an update on Andrew Tate's health. We'll sure to let you know. I think that it's, again, I remain, my position is let the man have his day in court. I think that he, I don't think he's all that bad, assuming he didn't do the things they're claiming he did. But now, this is something that's been going on forever, essentially, this trial, by the way. This is a guy that still hasn't had his day in court, and it's wild. So then they continued. Andrew is fine. So he refused doctor, says Andrew is fine, says pain is part of life. He says the doctor will inject him with who knows what and end him. He's in the lotus position and drinking tea. As long as he can breathe, he's refusing medical attention. So far, so good. The question is, where did this come from? Certainly, it could be, I don't know, maybe something in his coffee or a sweetener or something. They changed the recipe on it or something, and he ended up getting, having an allergic reaction to it. I don't know. But then also you have this situation. Tristan, Andrew's brother, now hit with a new charge of incitement, sparking a wild Twitter rant against prosecutors. So the Tate brothers, blah, 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 right? So Tristan took to Twitter to hit out at prosecutors in yet another online rant. Well, let's take a look at it. Oh, well, they don't even link to it. Oh, that's great. That's great journalism. Hold on a second. I'm not sure I would call this a rant, but the tweet says, this is shifted from the prosecution trying to prove Andrew Tate is something terrible to them trying to prove Tristan Tate also incites bad behavior. It will probably end with a conviction on my account for making a spelling error on a tax document and a headline, guilty verdict in Tate case. Now let them distract you. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out for the Tate brothers. Again, you see this. They charged me yesterday with inciting towards others. I thought I was a trafficker. Where's the evidence of that? Oh, yeah, right. They don't have any. So they make something else up. Don't show the world why I'm guilty of the things. Just make up new crimes and don't explain any of them. What's next? Bank robbery, fraud? Embarrassing. I'd say that it is probably embarrassing. I think that these people are flailing and that they're desperate to try and charge them with something. And at this point, again, I've said if they are guilty, then give them their day in court. I don't know at what point you decide, hey, maybe this is maybe they're being extorted. Maybe they're saying, oh, sure would be a terrible thing. If you got another charge, all you have to do is, no, I'm not saying I know this is true, and I'm not, but I'm saying it sure is interesting. If you look at, this is like how crazy the world is around Andrew Tate. Like I don't consume his content. It is what it is for me. But it's interesting how this is all shaking out because, even like Coronation Street star Adam Hussein issues apology for daring to like a tweet from Andrew Tate. I will be more careful in the future. What? Like Adam Hussein, who has issued an apology for liking tweets posted by Andrew Tate, a self-proclaimed misogynist who is currently being investigated over suspected trafficking. Look, I don't know, what's, again, I remain, look, you might not like the guy. Nobody's forcing you to watch his videos. I don't, I'm not a top G, clearly. But I think that you'd have to be completely intellectually dishonest to not agree that there's something fishy going on around Andrew. Maybe, some people think he deserves it. I don't know. But when you have people being forced to like issue apologies about liking a tweet, here you say Andrew Tate says he's being punished for telling young men to work hard, but would be embraced if he told them to remove their junk and wear a dress. He's 100% right about that. That's the thing. Like, yes, he is telling young men to work hard, and the media doesn't like that. That said, he's had some hot takes that maybe stuff I don't necessarily agree with, but also like there's a lot of stuff he says that I do agree with. And, society right now has left behind young men. It's one of the reasons that we have so many of these, incidents out there with young men or young men trying to not be young men. But for I don't know when it really started, probably the early 2000s. That's why we have huge disproportionate amount of women in college versus men. Disproportionate of men getting longer sentences in prison. Now you go down the whole list, right? More men take themselves off this planet by far than women. The homeless is overwhelmingly men. Feminism in the first and second wave were good, I believe, in general, anyway. And I think in the third wave, it shifted from being about uplifting women to ripping down, pulling down men. And that's why so many people rebelled against it, at least people who weren't morons. I mean, the modern feminist is, this is the same level of thought as, affirmative action, things like that. Like, well, we have to give opportunities to women just because of years of inequity. I'm not going to say that women weren't, wronged in the past or, given a raw deal or whatever in the past, but I'm also not going to sit here and pretend like they don't have every opportunity on the planet right now as it stands. So, Andrew Tate, as much as people don't like him, he motivates young men to get out there and earn and work out. And these things are good. They're not toxic by nature. They're just good. There are things, his opinions on women and stuff like that I don't agree with. Obviously, if he'd committed these crimes, it also doesn't invalidate the advice he's given. I separate the two. I separate, the man from this trial thing. And look, if he's found guilty, then I'll make a video about it and I'll say, hey, he got his day in court, this or that or the other thing. And a lot of people are pushing back and they don't like that even I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But quite frankly, men these days are almost never given that. And so we'll have to see. Certainly, it wouldn't be the first person spreading bad ideas that was, removed. I mean, look what happened to Tucker, So it's an interesting thing to watch. Hope he's turns out okay. Hope he's not too sick. And I'll keep you posted if there's some sort of update from here, and we'll talk to you again real soon.